Morgan Archer. It can cost a business between $75,000 and $150,000 in fines if they do not follow the rules and regulations put in place by the Americans with Disabilities Act. Everyone in this room is able to perform daily physical tasks without assistance, but not everyone has that luxury. The Minnesota Department of Education should allow all service animals in schools. First, I will talk about some background information on the ADA and problems that have occurred, and then I'll talk about a possible solution. So first, let's start by learning a little bit of background information. Everyone with disabilities, especially children, endure a lot of hardships when it comes to their individual rights. The ADA was first implemented in 1990 by George Bush. It helps protect the rights of people with disabilities, including their rights to service animals. When their rights are denied, they can take legal action. Sharon Brown, a teacher of educational law as well as special education law at Washington State, explained in the journal National Network under the Americans with Disabilities Act of 2019 what a service animal is and how they are utilized. So the definition of a service animal is any dog that is trained to do specific tasks or jobs for their handler. Each service animal is different, and they can do different tasks depending on what their handler needs. This can include a seeing eye dog for blind people, a sound indicator for the deaf, or helping with mobility. No certification is needed, and when you take it into a public space, the only question that they can ask is what tasks the dog is able to do. Emotional support animals are not covered under the ADA because they do not have any specific job, and they're just there for emotional support. People with disabilities rely on their service animals a lot. School administrators have a lot to take into consideration before they can allow service animals in schools. Dr. Aubrey Fine, a clinical psychologist and a professor at California State Polytechnic University and an expert in animal-assisted therapy, states in the book How Animals Help Students Learn from 2017 how to effectively have service animals in school. They are not allowed to deny the service animal except if the handler does not have control, if they're barking in a quiet environment, or they are not properly house trained. If the dog barks when it is provoked, that does not count as a reason to be removed. The school will also be liable for educating the students and staff on how to act around the service animal. The U.S. Supreme Court case of Fry versus Napoleon from 2017 explains the argument made about a young girl who was denied her right of having her service animal at school. E.F. Fry is a young girl who has cerebral palsy and has trouble with fine motor skills. Her dog Wonder helps her with many tasks, such as picking up dropped items, helping with mobility, and even taking off her jacket. She was given a 30-day trial period to bring him up to school, and she was given a paraprofessional too. They made the dog sit at the back of the classroom, and he was not able to do any of his trained tasks. Her family took the school to court and eventually ended up at the Supreme Court for discrimination, and they won. Lisa Driscoll, an associate professor in the Educational Leadership and Policy Studies Department at the University of Tennessee, describes in the journal Educational Leadership and Policy Studies from 2018 the considerations needed to be made with the presence of service animals in school. So one big consideration is kids with life-threatening allergies. This is not a reason that they can deny the service animal, and it should be treated just as a peanut allergy. So this can be helped by limiting contact and washing hands often. Another question is, if the student is too young, who is going to help them with toileting and bringing them outside and feeding? Should they be given a paraprofessional to help them with this? Some adults argue that they should, but under the ADA, the schools are not required to provide one. So now that we have talked about some problems, let's try and figure out a solution. Jenna Faldorf, a teacher with a Bachelor of Science in Education from Wright State University, explains in the journal Core Scholar from 2017 that having a service animal in the classroom provides a lot of benefits for a student with disabilities. The parents and students should figure out what is best for them, and the school should not try and figure out what is best for the child that they barely even know. The service animal helps the student be more independent, And if the parent and student want, they can request a paraprofessional along with the service animal. The functionality and safety of the student should be the main priority. The Minnesota Department of Education should allow all service animals in school. First, I talked about some problems, and then I came up with a solution. If the student is denied their right, the school should pay the $75,000 to $150,000 fine, just as a normal business would do.
5:33, great job, thank you.